Greetings, one and all, to everyone out there in YouTube land, especially you there at the back. Yeah, I see you. This is Ollie here at Visordown.com, and today we have something a little different for you. Now, we're sure you may have noticed Christmas is indeed coming, and if you hadn't, then quick, you've only got a couple of days left to get those presents. But the end of 1 year means we have a whole juicy 12 months of brand new motorcycles ahead of us. And we have two of them right here, right now. The Ducati Desert X and the Agusta Lucky Explorer 9.5. Yes, we may have already brought you the finer details on this here YouTube channel in recent weeks, but we're still a little away from getting our grubby little mitts on them to find out how they actually ride. However, if either of these models has piqued your interest, then we know that won't stop you guys and gals from sizing them up against the 900cc adventure motorcycle opposition. So, to give you a little helping hand, we've brought these brand new, and they are brand new, rugged Italian Lotharios up against two of their biggest rivals, the KTM 890 Adventure R and a Triumph Tiger 900 Rally, to put those specs and details side by side. Just for you. You're very welcome. So without further ado, let's begin. Look, far be it from me to tell you whether one of these motorcycles is more stylish than the other. One person's fugly is another person's fabulous, after all. But with Ducati and Agusta coming in fresh with something very new here, there is plenty to talk about. Perhaps most bizarrely, Ducati has made the bike many would have expected Agusta to come out with. Allow me to explain. With its slab sides, upright stance and edgy silhouette, the Desert X successfully harks back to the rally raiders of the 1980s, seen skipping over the sands of North Africa in the Paris-Dakar Rally, in a look not dissimilar to the Yamaha Tenere 700. Not that Ducati has ever actually competed at Dakar, but we do love some of the touches here, such as the piercing circular LED headlights poking out from the abyss-like cowl. In fact, some would say it bears a striking resemblance to the iconic Lucky Strike Cagiva Elephant, except that model has more in common with Agusta. In fact, the Cagiva nameplate is owned by Agusta, and that aforementioned model is even referenced in the firm's new adventure model. Not entirely, though. After all, there are laws against calling motorcycles after a pack of fags. Instead, we have the Agusta Lucky Explorer 9.5, which is perhaps more akin to the more traditional modern-day adventure bike, with its chunkier detailing, fat knobbly tyres and a livery that does, admittedly, throw a few cigarette references in there. You wouldn't call it exotic or elegant, but the Lucky Explorer 9.5 is the dawn of a new Agusta, to reach out into more sectors, which it hopes will more than quadruple sales in the next couple of years. Do we think the Ducati and Agusta is more stylish than the KTM or Triumph? Well, KTM aren't exactly known for its style, but you certainly know what you're getting with the 890 Adventure R. It's sharp, it's perhaps function over form, and it's orange. As for the Triumph Tiger 900, there have been so many changes in this class since it was launched that it's already the elder statesman. It's handsome, but unassuming, perhaps a little bland. So, all in all, we'll give Ducati this one. Our quartet here are split half and half between twin, Ducati and KTM, and triple cylinder engines, Agusta and Triumph, which alone will be enough for you to decide which motorcycle you want to take home. We'll have to wait and find out how the Ducati and Agusta fare in the real world, but they certainly boast some enticing figures. The Ducati Desert X is the largest engine motorcycle here, with its tried and tested Testastretta 937cc twin-cylinder engine, which the firm says it has fettled to be more usable in the rough stuff, though we hope it hasn't entirely forgone that signature Ducati sound. Agusta, meanwhile, is going for broke, with a brand new 931cc triple-cylinder engine, which we cannot wait to try based on our experience with its other Rorty Note 3 pots. In terms of outright power, Agusta has its rivals licked, with a lively 123 brake horsepower coming in at 10,000 RPM, while it also offers the most torque at 102 Newton meters. However, we can tell from these figures, Agusta and Ducati are targeting a more on-road than off-road experience. with peak torque coming in at 6,500 RPM and 7,000 RPM respectively. By contrast, the KTM 890 Adventure R is all about the pull, with 100 Nm of torque at an impressive 8,500 RPM. As for the Triumph, well, it lags behind its rivals in terms of power and torque, and doesn't quite have the sprint of its rivals, on the road and off the road. Ducati and MV Agusta have certainly had KTM and Triumph in mind when it comes to designing its two motorcycles. In fact, while the engine may be familiar, Ducati has put a lot of effort into the chassis of the Desert X, which debuts a brand new frame. The same can be said for the Lucky Explorer 9.5, which is new from the ground up, unlike the smaller 5.5, which is based on Italy's best-selling motorcycle, the Benelli TRK 502, developed by China's QJ Motors. In terms of weight, all four here are relatively similar, though the Ducati and MV are a little heavier than the KTM and Triumph, while all but the Triumph come with 21-inch front wheel and 18-inch rear wheels. Indeed, you can tell which of these four bikes has been more honed towards going rough when the tough gets going, with the KTM being light, having the shortest wheelbase and the highest ground clearance. I mean, you don't win an extraordinary 18 Dakar rides on the trot for nothing. For now, we will have to wait to find out whether MV Agusta's desire to bring the famed marque to a wider audience is reflected in the price, which we hope won't make like the Brutalion F3 and be eye-wateringly exclusive. As for Ducati, the Desert X is starting at £13,795, which is, well, it's pricey. Almost £2,000 more than the entry-level KTM and Triumph here, and this is before you start ticking boxes on the accessories sheet. Still, it is well equipped, while the honed, fully loaded Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro is a more equivalent £13,500. As for the KTM 890 Adventure R Rally, well, set aside nearly £19,000 for that one. We can't wait to see how the Ducati Desert X and MV Agusta Lucky Explorer 9.5 perform on the road and off it when we get to test them in the new year. Ducati certainly has the style, but not the heritage, while MV Agusta has a version of that heritage and a punchy engine, but to our eyes doesn't have the elegance we're accustomed to from the brand. Meanwhile, KTM is the choice for those who want to head off-road, and a Triumph perhaps the one you want if you're 75% on it and 25% off it. The stage is set. Keep it locked down, hopefully not in lockdown, to Visordown.com when we throw our leg over both new models very, very soon. Ciao for now.